Hi guys, my name is Rholanram. I'm the branch manager for the McAllen Public Library's Palmview branch, and today I wanted to do a little fun tutorial of a game that I really like to play with my family called Farkle, and it involves 6 die, and these are oversized die. You just can have the regular kind that you just have lying around the house. If you don't have die lying around the house, there's a lot of digital Farkles that you can download from the Apple Store, Google Play Store, online, stuff like that. So don't worry about having die. You could also get those at any time. But I wanted to show you this game because it's really simple. I'll put the rules and everything in the description below. But that way you have an idea of how to play this game. All you need is the die, a little piece of paper, and a pen or pencil so you can keep score. And then there's certain little rules to the game that I was going to show you. So again, you start with the 6 die. Depending on how many players you have, each one of you roll 1 die. The one with the highest number, say if you end up with a 6, then you're the first one to go. So then it goes in order clockwise around the players, around the table or the room or whatever, and each player will roll from then on forward. It's best if one person does the scorekeeping, so the person with the lowest number, maybe a 1, could be the scorekeeper. And I'll explain the scoring in a minute. So the whole point of the game is that you're going to roll the die and continue rolling until you get to 10,000 points. And I'll give you the point system of the die in just a minute. And the first one to get to 10,000 points wins. However, every player after that gets 1 chance to try to surpass the 10,000 points. If they pass the 10,000 points, or the points that that person made over 10,000, then that person wins. So it's a little bit challenging to get to that point. There's some ways to where you can lose points and things like that. So basically, each die is going to have its point system. The most important die are going to be the 1. So this 1 die by itself, if you roll a 1 pip or a 1, that's 100 points. However, if you roll a 5 by itself, that's worth 50 points. And so each time you roll, the very first time you're going to roll all 6 die at the same time, and then you roll, and you have to at least get a 1 or a 5. So you have to get one of these two at least for every time that you roll. If you do not get any points on a roll, you have farkled, and that's the name of the game, Farkle. So that's a bad thing. So you lose any points that you had made during that roll or that turn, and you lose your turn, and it goes to the next person. If you get 3 Farkles in a row, you lose 1,000 points from your total points on your scorecard. So definitely try not to get 3 Farkles in a row. Sometimes the Farkles happen, but you need to work through it and then get points in your next one and keep going. So the very first thing I would say is, let me tell you the point system. So you know that the 1 pip is 100 points, and 5 pips is 50 points. Now some more scores that you would need is if you get 3 of a kind. So if you get, let me put 3 1s, if you roll 3 1s, you have made 1,000 points. So that's really cool. So you have 3 1s is 1,000 points. Anything else that you roll 3 of will be of that number. So if you roll 3 2s, let me put 3 2s out. So 3 2s, that's 200 points. So 3 1s is 1,000 points, but 3 2s is only 200 points. And then 3 3s is 300, 3 4s 400, 3 5s 500, and 3 6s are, you guessed it, 600 points. So there's a point system for the triples, or for 3 of a kind. If you get 2 of a kind, that doesn't mean anything. That there's no points for pairs unless you get 3 pairs. So if you get 3 6s, 3 5s, and say 3 4s, now you have a pair of 4s, a pair of 5s, and a pair of 6s, right? I think I did that wrong, sorry. That is worth 1,500 points, but you have to get them like this. You have to get 3 pairs of any combination. It could be at whatever numbers, it doesn't matter, as long as there's 3 pairs, right? So this is 1,500 points. Another way to score points is to get what we call a straight. So you'll get a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, and a 6. So 1 through 6 is a straight, and that's worth 1,500 points also. If you get three 5s, and say three 3s, and again, these could be any numbers, but if you get 3 of a kind and 3 of a kind, that's 2,500 points. So that's worth like a lot, because it's very difficult to get 3 of a kind and 3 of a kind. So that would be worth 2,500 points. Let me make sure. Yes, 2 triplets. These are triplets, and triplets are 2,500 points. So another scoring thing, if you get 4 of any kind, so we have 3 5s right here, and then you get a 4th one, right? So this is worth what? This is worth by itself is worth 500, right? Because it's 3 5s or 500 points. If you get a 4th in that same roll, now you multiply the 500 times 2. So now, since this one was added to the 5, so now you have 4. Now it's 1,000 points. So it's 500 times 2. What happens if you rolled that? What is that? That's 200 points, right? So 200 points, and then you had a 4th one come in. So 200 times 2 is 400, right? So now you have 400 points with this right here. And that works for each one. So the 3s, the 4s, the 6s, the 1, not the 1s. If you do the 1, remember what the 1 was? So you got 3 1s, that's 1,000 points, right? You get a 4th one, times 2, that's 2,000 points. So that gets you points up really quick like that. Another thing is if, and this is pretty hard to get, but this starts getting rarer and rarer as we go. So say you have the 3 5s, you have the 4th 5, so that's 500 times 2, right? So that's 1,000. But if you get a 5th 5, that would make it 500 times 3. So that would be 1,500, right? So you have 500 times plus 500 plus 500, right? So it'd be 1,500. You could get 6, very rare. That would be times 4. So if you get 4, it's times 2 of whatever numbers you got. If you get 5, it's times 3 of whatever numbers you got of the 3s in a row. And then if you get that, it's times 4. You could do the 3 and 3, but it'd probably be worth more points if you do it times 4 than 2 triplets. Okay, so when you roll, and I'm going to just, because these are really big and I don't have a lot of space, I'm going to roll my dice, and I'm going to do it, normally you're going to do it, you know, what the pips are facing up, but I'm going to do it forward so that y'all can see, and I'm going to change these up a little bit so that it's like I'm rolling them. Okay, so now I'm going to put them like that so y'all can see the numbers. So in this example, I'm going to do these numbers facing out. So what do I have? What do I have on this roll? I have a 5, I have another 5, and then I have a pair of 4s, a 2, and a 6. So this stuff in the middle doesn't count for anything. These two are 50 points each, right? So I could take one of these and take it out, or I could take both of them and take it out, and right now I have 100 points with these two. So I'm going to take these two out, and then I'm going to roll again because I want more points than just 100 points. So I'm going to roll my die again, and normally you would just throw them and roll them, right? So I'm going to roll my die again and see what happens. Oh wow! Now, let me turn this around. So now what do I have? I have two 4s and a 1 and a 2. So these don't really count for anything because they're singles and pairs. They really don't count. But the 1 is 100 points. So now I have 100 plus the other 100 that I already had. So now I have 200 points, and I'm going to set that aside. So I have 200 points. Let's see what I can get. So I'm going to roll my die again, roll them again, roll them again, and then you roll. And then let me put it to something kind of not so big numbers. I'm going to put it like that. Oh no! Now what happened? I didn't get any points because I didn't get a 1 or a 5 in this roll. So I just lost all the 200 points that I just made. I lost it because I got Farkle. So this is a Farkle. I got a Farkle on this roll. So I lose all my points, and the die go to the next person. And then the next person rolls. So the next person rolls, and they come out with, let's see, I'm just going to throw these up there randomly and see what happens. All right. So the next person, they didn't get anything here, right? These are all singles. This is a pair, which doesn't matter. And this is a single, and that doesn't matter. Oh, this one, I'm sorry. This one is the one that matters. So this is worth how much? 50 points, right? So this is 50 points. So the next person got 50 points, and then they're going to roll again. They're going to roll the remaining 5 die. Every time you roll, you have to take out at least 1 die. But I'm going to show you something in just a minute that sometimes confuses people in this game. So in this roll right here, what do I have? So this one and this one doesn't count, right? It doesn't mean anything, but we got these right here, right? So what is this one? This one's 50 points, 100 points, and 50 points. It's like, wow, man, that's cool. I like that. So I already had 50 points, right? So now I'm going to take this one. This is 100 points. So with this one and this one, now I have 150 points. I'm going to put that aside. These two count. But you know what I'm thinking? I have a better chance of maybe getting 3 of a kind if I have more die. So I'm going to keep these. Even though these count, I'm not going to use them. So you don't always have to take the die out. You just have to take at least 1 die out every time you roll. Okay, so I'm going to leave those in there, even though they were counting ones, but I'm going to try to see if I can get maybe 3 of a kind, maybe 3 ones. That would be cool, right? If I got 3 ones, or if I got 4 ones, that would even be better, right? So I'm going to roll them, and then this is what happens with the roll. I got 3 ones. So by doing that, I got 3, whoops, got the wrong one out. It's this one, sorry. So I got 3 ones. So that is what? 1,000 points, right? So I got 1,000 points, plus I already had 100 points, and I had a 50. I had 50 on my first one. I had 100, so that's 150, and now I have 1,000. So I have 1,150 points. And then I'll say, okay, I'm going to stop. I don't want to roll anymore because I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it on my scorecard. So then you can start accumulating points. So every time you roll, you have to get at least 1 out and continue rolling if you want to get more points, or stop if you think that you're going to Farkle, or if there's not an opportunity to get more points. Another add-on to the game you could always add is called scoring in. So at the very, very beginning of the game, you tell everybody, okay, everybody has to score in 1,000 points. And it could be made over several rolls. It could be made at one time, like getting 3 ones. But you have to score 1,000 points to start counting your points. So say if the first time you rolled, you were lucky and you got 1,000 points. So you could say, okay, I got 1,000 points, I stop. So your score is 0. But at the very next turn, you can start adding points to your score sheet. So that's kind of fun. So you can, it's a little bit more challenging because a lot of times you'll Farkle trying to get to that first 1,000 points. And if you Farkle in the first round before you start taking points, those Farkles don't matter. So you can get as many Farkles as you want. But once you start writing points down, then those Farkles do matter. And if you get 3 Farkles in a row, you lose 1,000 points. So before you start taking your score down, the Farkles don't matter. But after you start taking your points down and you get 3 Farkles, that's 1,000 points deducted from your total. So you can see that it starts to get a little bit tricky and challenging. You gotta strategize a little bit. There's an element of chance because you don't know what's going to come up, but there's still a little bit of an element of, okay, I'm going to take these, but I'm not going to take all of these, or I might not take this 50 points, so I'll have more chance to roll more chance of getting more opportunities to get a bigger points total. So that's kind of the gist of the game. I'll try to put some information down below just to kind of give you the scoring and stuff like that. If you have any other questions, definitely you can look up some rules. Different places do the rules slightly different. These are the rules that I like to use. I usually like to score in to try to get to that 1,000 points before taking your point total down, and then just continue playing the way you like. It's a really fun game. Like I said, if you don't have 6 die, sometimes people don't have 6 die at their house. There is a Farkle games that you can download onto your smartphone, onto your tablet, on your computer. You can use that as your scoring and still play amongst people. Or you can just kind of, it's something fun. I like to play Farkle on my own. A lot of times I just get that app and I play Farkle, and there's different ones that you can download. One I like to use is by Smartbox, and that one's really fun, and it's free. There's no charge for that. You can pay if you don't want the ads and stuff, but I just play the free one, and it's pretty fun. And you can have like the computer be your competitor, so you could put up to 4 computer players, and then those players roll, and then you're playing against the computer and stuff like that. So it's really fun. So this is the game Farkle. You're trying to get to 10,000 points, and I really recommend it for families. If you're at home, if over the weekend you just want to play with some friends, you can even do this video chatting with people and stuff like that. It's fun. It kind of does a little bit of math, maybe a little adding, subtracting, multiplying, but it's, other than that, it's just a real fun, easy game. But it gets really challenging to try to get to 10,000 points before everybody else, and then not Farkle. So have fun. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial of the game Farkle, one of my family favorites, and have a fun, safe time. Make sure and wash your hands, and continue to have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.